Good morning, everyone. I did a little video the other day, and during that video, I said that I was going to make another video about frogs in the milk. So this is that video. Many years ago, back before the date of refrigeration and electricity, many people lived out in the country on a little piece of land, and they did what's called subsistence farming. And this was back before refrigeration, which refrigeration enables you to keep things cool, like meat and also milk and butter, things that need to be keep cool. If you don't keep them cool, they will spoil real quickly. So people would have a little plot of land. If they were lucky, they had a spring on that piece of property, and they would dig down around the spring, and they would build what's called a little spring box. There would be a pool of spring water in the bottom of the spring box, and they would build a house down around the spring, and they could put milk in a big old crock, 5-gallon crock, and they could set it down the spring. It had a top on it, of course, and they could put other things down in there in some sort of tight container, like butter, and they could put other things they wanted to keep cool in there. Maybe like some vegetables out of the garden, or they could come out there and get water to make lemonade with, and so forth. So anyway, this little farm, they had a spring house, and the farmer's wife would come out every so often, and she would put milk in that crock that they wanted to later churn into butter. They would take and collect the cream off the top of the milk, and they would put that in that big old crock. And at some future point in time, when the crock got big enough, they could take and churn that, and they could make butter. As a matter of fact, I used to churn butter when I was a little boy growing up. We had a big old crock like that. It was about a 5-gallon crock, and we had a churn. It was like a paddle-like thing, and it was a hole in the top of in the lid, and there was like a broomstick fit down through the top of the lid and attached onto that paddle, and you just went up and down, up and down, up and down, and you just kept doing that until the butter formed at the top of the milk, and then you could take the butter off, and you could make a butter ball with it and press it into sticks of butter, or press it into some sort of butter form that you had. So anyway, what happened is farmer's wife came out one day to put some milk in there that they was going to later on churn, and she was doing some other things in the spring house, and she left the lid off the crock for a minute or so while she was doing these other things, and a couple of frogs hopped into the milk. She had finished what she was doing and not paying any attention. She just put the top right back on top of the crock, and left the spring house, locked it up, and didn't come out until like the next day, or maybe a couple of days later. Now what happened was, a frog is an amphibian. They live in the water, but they have to come to the surface of the water to breathe, and they also have to have something to rest on. You often hear about a frog on a lily pad. They get up on top of these lily pads, and they sit there and they rest. Or they get up on top of a rock next to a stream or a pond and sit there and rest. Well, if they can't do that, they can sink to the bottom of the pond or river or whatever it is and drown. So anyway, the frogs kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked, and got really tired from all that kicking. So this one frog, he just couldn't kick no more, so he gave up, and he sank to the bottom of the milk and drowned. But this other frog just would not give up. He just kept kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking. And pretty soon he felt something form underneath his feet that gave him a little support. and he just kept kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking. And pretty soon he kicked up a big old ball of butter, and he was able to get up on that and sit down and rest. And when the farmer's wife came out to the spring house, she opened up the lid on that crock, and that frog just hopped right out of the crock and went on about his way. So the moral of the story is never quit kicking, never give up, and you will succeed in getting whatever it is you want, or succeed in staying alive. Thanks a lot, and you folks have a nice day.